Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Farazira binti MUDIN and my matric number is 272823. I am the one of the July group member where I will present my part in the infographic assignment. We already decided to refer the movie from Netflix, which is Don't Look Up, where this movie duration is about 2 hours and 18 minutes. This movie was published in 2021 and where we can only watch this movie at the Netflix. Now, let me start my presentation. I will present about the ethical implication that we can get from this movie. There are 3 ethical implications that we can get from this movie, which is ethical implication of leadership, ethical implication of law, and the last one is ethical implication of honesty. First of all, let me tell you a little bit what is ethical implication. Ethics can be viewed as a subjective philosophy dealing with the right and wrong or good or evil. Ethical implication of any activity are that the result that can be viewed with those ethical consideration in the mind. But one must consider whether ethical considerations like beauty are in the eye of the beholder. Ethical implication consider the impact of consequence that psychological research has on the right of the other people in the wider context, which is not just the participants were taking part in the research. So, the first ethical implication that I will explain to you is ethical implication of leadership. The implication is that the leaders are chosen because they are the ethical people and are expected to act ethically in both their leadership and personal roles. So when it is discovered that a leader has acted for personal enrichment at the expense of the state or is discovered having a sordid extramarital affair, the result is opposite to the expectation of ethical leadership. The implication of this lack of ethics is that the leader will not retain his position in the next election. One of the examples of ethical leadership implication is where the president who is expected to act in a way that will benefit the entire nation, they didn't do that. On the state level, the governor is expected to act in a manner that will benefit the state and so on down the line of lesser leadership role. The second ethical implication that I will explain is ethical implication of law. The concept of ethics implies that all individuals are equal in the eyes of the law. Ethical law enforcement authorities are expected to ignore all the personal bias in their job performance. Citizen jury members are also expected to ethically perform their obligation. Confusion develops when an ethical decision is inconsistent with the law. So, the ethical decision to stop the lawbreaker with violence make it illegal. Although law enforcement officials and jury members may want to commend the individual for potentially stopping a crime, the ethical implication of the law demand he be convicted and punished for his violent action. So, the last ethical implication that I will explain that we can get from the movie Don't Look Up is ethical implication of honesty. If truthfulness is ethical and good, whereas deception is unethical and bad, the ethical implication is that a good person is always honest. However, honesty is not always such a clear-cut value. There are many situations when honesty may hurt another individual. Truthfulness requires a person with the knowledge of a husband's infidelity to tell his wife. Although that knowledge may result in the couple working out difference and becoming closer, it may also result in the dissolution of the marriage and hardship for family members. The self-ethical implication of honesty that assumes an honest person will turn in a found quarter as quickly as a found wallet requires the honest person to be truthful, regardless of the consequence. Now we have reached at the end of the presentation, where I will conclude my presentation. Social and behavioral science research has ethical implication in any setting. Though we may control the interaction to a minimum extent, we are still humans studying other humans. Life can be affected to a greater or lesser degree, expectation, projection, aspiration, and the reflectivities accompanying all of this are part of the immediate research situation. They influence what we observe and how we observe it. They shape the larger lesson where we draw in the long after. The publication of results can further affect the original subjects or years later their descendants. All of these ethical implications are greatly compound when the research engagement is intimate and prolonged and extends across a cultural boundary separating the investigator from the person where he or she is attempting to understand.